You get rewarded for like posting good content and building, and
you can turn a dead product into a winning product just with a good story.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the 4 Stars podcast. I'm here with the guest that just the guest of honor, I guess. We have done multiple podcasts over the years, and this is kind of our chronological update in time, which I'm super excited to do. One of my closest friends, who's now far, far away in Miami, Faiz Warsani, has done millions of dollars in e-commerce. He's launching a brand. He's going to exit, hopefully, for $100+ million. It's going absolutely viral all over TikTok right now. You've probably seen it before. You've probably seen some of his ads or products along the way. You probably already know who he is if you watch this podcast. So, without further ado, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? I'm Faiz. For those of you guys who don't know, I own this brand right here called Sweet Dreams, as Kyle kindly introduced me as the founder of. But yeah, Faiz, the founder of Sweet Dreams. It's nice to be back, man. We do these podcasts like once a year. I feel like we don't really see each other that much. So this is like always it's
a great excuse to do it.
It's a quality conversation always.
For sure.
Obviously so much has happened in the last year. I mean, we saw each other back in, when did you come to Miami?
Probably like a year ago.
It was a year?
So right.
It was probably
a little more recent.
December or November, I think.
I went there too many times. So it's better when you come here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Rare occurrences.
For sure. But yeah, dude, I mean, I feel like it's a good way to update everything. We're in similar spaces, always going back and forth on like new and emerging stuff. We've got tons of friends in the space, but I feel like it kind of all gets dissolved down into what we're able to catch up on year after year, see things go away, see things blow up, see things actually maybe work. And I think we'll touch on a lot of that today, and I'm excited to get into it.
So let's catch up, man.
Yeah, what's up, man? You moving to Florida?
Okay.
Parents are moving to Florida?
Yeah. Everyone slowly is coming my way. Honestly, it's been a year of like real focus, like real deep work focus, real like, again, just like figuring out what I want to, like what I really truly want to pursue long term. And just realigning with that vision, right? Because it's easy to get caught up along the way and have certain things pop up, and then you lose sight of like what your end goal is. Yeah. I feel like it's been a very confusing time. Like during the time of the last podcast, I definitely like had my vision aligned, and Sweet Dreams has always been something that I've wanted to really pursue from the first ever podcast that we did. But it's just been a really, really strong year of like knowing what I want and building a plan to get to where I want and executing upon that plan now. So we're kind of in the execution in the trenches. We call it the trenches, but it's really like a beautiful Miami apartment. That's usually what the trenches are. For sure. But yeah, it's just been a great year of just working, delaying gratification a little bit, not traveling this summer, not doing any of that, just settling down in Miami. Got this donut truck popping. Did I show you?
I saw the picture of the other day,
close
right?
friends. Yeah. Oh my God. We sold like thousands of donuts that day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's turning out to be a good little play for sure. But yeah, it's just been a year of a lot of work and balancing a healthy life, hitting the gym again, doing more wholesome things. And living the halal lifestyle.
Yeah. I like to see it. I mean, I think like with any like specifically halal stuff like that, like it's like the things you probably should be doing.
Yes.
Right. It's not like you take away the maybe little minuscule things people throw people off. It's like probably the health, like any religion, I really think.
Yes.
Those morals. But getting back to you being on this focused like grind, like what you're looking to do this year, like I want to start in our conversations distilling down what that actually means for somebody who's watching, who's 15, 16, 20, 25, 30, 35, like who is trying to implement those same things in their life and their business. Like they may not know that, obviously you've done millions of dollars in e-commerce previously. You've had a pretty successful NFT project, stuff like that. And that's where like the donut thing comes from, which I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit more. Yeah. However, like what does that actually look like for you on top of just waking up at 5 a.m., grinding and taking an hour cold shower?
Well, I do actually wake up at 5 a.m.
For sure.
A little bit earlier than 5 a.m. to pray. That's when the first prayer is. So I'll like kind of break down like it's the sequence of where the discipline and where just like really finding myself came again. Cause like during that last year, I was still, still was just really caught up in this life. And like, I don't want to get too religious on the podcast. Cause like there's a time and place for that, but it's been a very important part of my life. This last year specifically, it was October where I really decided to choose they call it Deen and Dunya. Deen is like, you choose the afterlife, paradise, Jannah. For all the Muslims that are watching this, they know about that. And I'm sure you know a little bit about this stuff too, because Shiraz. Yeah. But I chose that, if I want to focus on one thing specifically and like really get that in line with my life, it is religion. Because if you're successful in religion, you are not only successful in this life, but you're successful in what happens after this life as well. Absolutely. And all the core principles of Islam too, just aligned perfectly in my life. Like I was born Muslim, but didn't ever really practice continuously or very religiously or strictly, pretty much. And I don't know what specifically happened or what triggered it in October, but I know it was just, I don't know, divine timing, the way that it happened. And it all started with, just reading Quran again and understanding the true meaning of the text, praying the 5 prayers on a daily basis. And the first one, like I said, 5 a.m. is Fajr. That's whenever you start your day by praying that prayer. And for me, it's just like the prayers are great, obviously, because it's a time for me to connect with God. But not only is it good for that, it builds so much discipline. Because I have the alarm set on my phone. As soon as that alarm goes off, I will drop everything to go and pray. And more times I'm just in my home, so it's not really too much of a challenge. But like if I'm traveling or if it's anything like that, then it starts to get a little bit more tough. But the discipline aspect of life is what I was truly lacking after a lot of the successes. You can oftentimes become very comfortable and very just, I think that the best word for it is comfort. You get really comfortable because you have money in the bank, you have security, and then you lose that drive, right? Yeah. So you need something that's going to get that drive back up again. And for me, it was religion. And that's what really got me back in tune with my life. And I felt like I was in control again. So making that switch, alhamdulillah, it's been like the best thing that I've done. And like, not only like, have I seen it in myself? I've been seeing it in so many people around me too. Like so many people are converting to Islam. It's been it seems like it's been a crazy like influencer marketing scheme that's been going on. Like whoever's behind that.
The MLM behind.
Yeah. Kudos to you. You ran it up.
It's funny.
But that's been like the biggest, the overarching thing, and everything else has kind of followed in line. The successes with the brand, the successes with the projects, with the real life stuff. Everything has just kind of fell into place because of religion. That's been the most important thing I'd say over the last year.
And that's really like everything you're saying. That's super awesome. And I think it kind of relates back to George and I were talking about it yesterday. You get comfortable after a certain period of time, and like something to kind of, so for some people, it might not be religion, it might be fitness. It might be, meditation. It might be, which a lot of those things is just like something that forces you back on the path. Exactly. Like kind of path correction back to where you kind of want to be going.
You get too comfortable, you get too fat, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, damn, like what just happened? It's been 6 months, I haven't hit the gym, I'm eating like shit. Gym can be definitely be the thing that snaps
absolutely.
You into place.
And I think a lot of the times you have to kind of like hack your brain in a way. Like for you it might be religion, like I said, for other people it might be different stuff, but it's like whatever works for you. You know what I mean?
Of course.
If it gets you on the right, more naturally healthy path in some way, shape or form.
Absolutely.
Or more focused or whatever it may be. To kind of eliminate the bad as much as possible to avoid that compounding, which can obviously be a bad thing. So
how about you, man? This is it's part of the podcast, but I just genuinely am curious. Like I saw your recent YouTube video that you just posted about quitting Solcar Media, getting rid of the office, and we obviously talk back and forth on FaceTime and stuff like that. But please, like, walk me through what have the last I think 6 months since we last saw each other. So walk me through like what's been happening.
Yeah, I mean, right now there was a lot of things that lined up to make it make sense. It was, like if you watch the video, like it was a move that I was kind of longing to do for a while for multiple different reasons. And I think it's like I finally, since obviously 2020, the big, breakthroughs and stuff and online business and whatever else, like I've always kind of just been chasing that again, like we all do. Cause you look at it, it's like,
chase that high.
It's like, the next, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And, you know, I still love making content and stuff like that, but I wanted to pretty much look at it as like, if I just, instead of taking, you know, this, if I took this part away from my life and I took that time I spent on that and spent it on myself, now that I have the ability to, I would much rather prefer to do that, because that compounding nature, because you look back at all these years you give to other people and you're like, wow, like not even trying to be you should be. I think everyone is lightly narcissistic and lightly selfish, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be alive. You'd be, you know what I mean? Like giving everything you have away. So in that way, because it's probably my favorite thing to do. So the love for content never died. It's just one of those things where, like I mentioned in the video, like I wanted to, like I had a couple of good swings with different projects and healthcare projects and stuff. And I wanted to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I actually don't have to worry like about like an income and just kind of dial it in, because I wanted to do YouTube since 2007 when I first posted guitar videos back then.
We were always the young brown boys with the little, I don't know what camera you had, but I think I had the flip mini camera.
I had the flip, the white one. Yeah. Brandon Carter talks about it. And I'm like, I know what you're talking about. The USB flicked out of it. You spent all your money at Best Buy on it. The videos, like you probably barely ever posted them, but that's the thing. Like it's a constant battle. And Tom behind the screen right now, he's like amazing with all things content production. He gets it too. Like it's a constant battle, kind of trying to constantly level up that skill set. And I think it's the best thing ever.
Wait, my brain just stopped working, but I think I was going to say, no sweet dreams. Only at nighttime. No, but I was going to say like constantly leveling up and wanting to make the last video better than the next. I think Mr. B said something good about this. It's just like, it's like very, it's hard to attain that. And whenever you don't attain that, then your motivation goes down. And that's whenever you stop. That's why I stopped making videos, because I just couldn't like, I ran out of ideas. First of all, ecom videos are very boring to make. So if you're doing like challenges and stuff like that, it's hard to always one up yourself in terms of quality and stuff like that. But I think the most important thing that we'll learn, and we've learned, is just being as consistent as you can in anything that you do in your life 100%. Will get you to where you want to get to. It's just along the way, we lose motivation, we come across shiny object syndrome or whatever it may be. And then that deters us from where we want to get to. And that's, I feel like that's been a big part of our lives for the last 3 years. It's just every single time something happens, we always fall off the path.
Yep. And it's like you have to force it like to work. Like it doesn't matter how you do it. Like, cause even what you're saying, like I ran out of ideas. Like what probably happened was like you posted a video, like, and then you didn't post one for like a month. And then you started thinking like, man, if I'm going to start posting it, I got to think out the next 6 videos. And even I was talking to George about this, because he's like never posted any videos consistently. I'm like,
now he's got like 5,000 in the box.
I'm like, the best ideas are going to come when you just like literally force it. You just got to keep filming and be like, hey, I'm going to post one a week. If you have like Mr. Beast talks about, like even like 10 throwaway videos, even if they're not throwaway, my goal is like, even right now, like there was a time where I'm like, oh, if I get a couple hundred videos, and now I'm like, if every video gets 1,000 views, I don't even look at the views anymore. I'm like, if one does 200, that's great. If it does 10, if it does 5, cool. My goal is to just, because there's a lot of people who would probably just love to keep seeing that, as long as you're putting some like level of relative effort into them. And then the ideas will slowly come. Like even a great example is like, obviously I'm not saying Jordan had any throwaway videos because they're amazing, but like Jordan blew up on YouTube, rightfully so.
He had to go through the grind to make video. I mean, we had the conversations. He didn't like no one likes to sit down and make ecom videos. You just do it because it's convenient and it gets views.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, it's like everyone's making the same type of content, but then he differentiated himself by making these videos where he's interviewing people, and then he edited some very beautiful style, and now he's got his own swag.
Absolutely.
But that's what it takes. You got to go through years. Like he spent years on the grind making these videos.
And you're rewarded for creativity and pushing the envelope. Like it's not only creative, it's not only like high production quality, but it's also like, it's stuff that's uncomfortable to do, like knocking on people's houses in Miami. I think that was one of his first huge videos.
Venetian Islands, It takes guts to do. Shout out Jordan.
Shout out Jordan, legit.
Shout out Jordan.
He's a go. I remember like when I met him, he had like 30 or 40,000, and now he's past 1 million. Like
we were together that day whenever we were having dinner, and he was talking about wanting to go all in on YouTube. And no one had any doubts about him being successful with it. So honestly,
and he's one of those people who always like when we first talked. He was always very into the whole like getting mentor things. Like I think he knew like Alex Becker, he paid him some level of thing.
I think I don't know about that, but
I don't know about but this was a while ago. But I think it wasn't for, I don't know if it was for YouTube or for software consulting, like whatever, maybe one call. But I really liked.
He got Eric
That was maybe
Iraq?
more recent, but yeah, I think that
Iraq,
too.
I think the Iraq course, whenever he took that, he learned a lot more about like viral content and like
For sure. And that makes sense because it lends itself to each other.
Exactly.
And he's like, we've gotten on calls and he's like, he's like, dude, this title, like, he doesn't say it like that. He doesn't say it sucks, but he's like, dude, fix this. This is way too complicated. He's like, read this back. And it's like, he's like, why does it have 15 words, not 5? And it's like that. And who's going to click that? And
that's right.
I think that's a really good point in general. I mean, we always get worried about the idea or the concept, but it's like, these mass appeal, like, would somebody click that?
It.
Like,
you got it. Like going back to like posting the videos that you don't like to post, although it may hurt your ego, you still have to go through it to just build your core audience. Cause you can't go viral making like a vlog, like a day in the life. I mean, actually no, day in the life videos, they get a lot of views. Those are like my best videos.
Yeah, that's your bread and butter.
Yeah. Those are fun. Those are fun to
Day
make.
in the life of a 16-year-old millionaire drop shipper. That's like, he's like
in the Hollywood Hills.
In the Hollywood Hills.
With the Tesla.
With the Tesla. Yeah.
That's like that was like that was my most fun video to make. So if I can get back into making content like that, I will come back to YouTube and I will definitely make stuff, but you will not catch me sitting down talking about boring ecom shit ever again.
Well, there needs to be some kind of new fun, like, video. And like YouTube goes through its waves and rhythms with certain things that does better than others. And like even ecom, like I don't watch TikTok all the time, but I didn't realize like how big of like I know it's a huge trend. Obviously I know that, but like it's becoming such a huge trend with like kids are posting like, long and the short of it is like, I saw like a kid, he posted like a fake, like he got a gift, like family member. And then he posted like a fake, like this is a product that's viral and winning. Obviously it's not like, and I'm like, damn, people are doing this to like flex now. This is like a culture. But obviously to your point, like, there's a lot of videos out there.
There are a plethora of videos, and I want to get into this a little bit later whenever I want to bash on some gurus. But
let's just get into it now.
Yeah, we can. I mean, I feel like right now, like I was saying, like I cannot sit there and make an ecom video that 10 other ecom gurus have made. We all have the same view on it. We get the same audience, same this, same that. It's the same like cigar culture, like Andrew Tate style stuff. It's like, bro, who's gonna come in and change that shit up? Yeah. It's like I'm 100%. I'm getting really sick of seeing all that like real red pill just like nonsense. It's like you don't live your life like that. You just pose as this character.
100%.
So it's like, who's going to be the one to change the momentum and like start showing like real life stuff? I get that it attracts the audience and it builds that, but it's like, what's making your influence different than another guy who's doing the same exact shit? And it's really the money Twitter stuff that really gets me like, I agree. I don't even like opening up Twitter anymore. I'm friends with a lot of these guys. I got love for a lot of these guys and I respect their hustle, but it's like, I'm getting sick of seeing the same style of stuff.
It's literally regurgitated content. Like everyone like has this, I get it. I understand the views of Andrew Tate, whatever. And I feel like the reason it works for him, like everyone uses him, the anomaly as like the example, but he's like, the reason it works for him is because he backs it up, but he speaks in such a like eloquent way. Like he can back himself. He's been on Piers Morgan, all this stuff. So if you're a 22, 23-year-old kid who like is going to just copy the things he says and regurgitate them, you're not going to be able to back it up the same way because some guy could like, I don't know, it is what it is. But I think I agree with you. Like that style is getting really old and it's like, it's so easy to poke holes in it. Like even it was, cringe what Tate did, but he made it work for him.
Exactly.
Obviously he's not also, a 23-year-old ecom kid who's like, transferring into, but like, regardless, I think I agree with you. It's like the more like realism, obviously it doesn't sell as well. Like it's not as, cynic or it's not, it doesn't,
it doesn't attract that. It's like, people
controversy
and like extreme masculinity and stuff like that. Like it's interesting. It's interesting to see like they follow the trend, but now the trend has become so densely populated that like it's just cringe now. It really is.
No, I
agree.
Like
smoking cigars too. Like I hate that shit. That shit is like, it's not enjoyable. I don't feel good at all. I much prefer a hookah over a cigar.
So
we got to start the Habibi trend.
Maybe
now.
that's the trend. Maybe it's coming back. Maybe.
Oh yeah. I'm going to start having a nice, beautiful hookah every single
everywhere you go. I haven't seen really many do that. So I could see that.
It's going to be the Habibi trend.
That's going to be the new thing. And you're
going to see the Miami audience is going to move to Dubai and everything is going to be very Habibi centric.
Yeah, for sure.
The Muslim, the Islamic conversion is already happening.
Yeah.
Now it's transitioning the cigars into hookahs.
Yeah. Wow, you're really changing the game over here.
I'm onto something. I'm onto something.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, good. I mean, I know we've seen a lot of stuff over the years, which is always interesting. I unsubscribed to a lot of like these like people on like, that's why I don't open up Twitter and my Instagram. I filter out people. I'm like, all right, I can't handle this anymore. Cause I think when you don't meet a lot of the people, you think that it's true and then it just gets you in your own head. But then when you start to meet these, you know, self-proclaimed gurus or whatever, it's like, it's not even singling out any specific person. It's just, you start to create like, you're like, oh wow, this person really is like, okay. Like
they're all right. We're all regular people. You know what I mean? Like even like I've had people like, I'm not the biggest guru in any sense. I have like 20,000 followers. It's barely anything. But even when people meet me, it's like, they're like amazed and they're like mind blown by seeing all this stuff that I've posted and all this, but the money making and all this stuff, it doesn't deter the fact that I'm a real human, just like you or like any of these guys. They're all human people. And I feel like a lot of these susceptible audiences, they put these people on like a God tier pedestal. We got to realize like everyone is really just like the same.
100%.
You know what I mean? And also one more thing too, Peter and Mo always talk shit about all these dudes who say that they made like they're going to make $40 billion or $1 trillion, whatever nonsense shit. Just so many inflated numbers going around now. It's very hard to believe everything that you see. So take these podcasts and everything that these people say 100%. With a grain of salt, you know what I mean?
Literally.
And like, also another thing, like now that I've like really started pushing volume on e-commerce side of things as well, a big thing that I used to have a problem with is like comparison and going on Twitter and seeing these guys flexing their, you know, $8,000 days or $10,000 days. Like we've been there, we've done that, you know what I mean? But like coming back and like seeing it just makes you like, I don't know, just the comparison stuff is like really starting to really screw with my head again.
It's easy.
It's like Twitter is becoming the problem. So I want to use less Twitter stuff and just like realizing, you know, we're all on our own path, but at the same time, it's like, it can get very toxic. So just the journey right now, again, is just detaching myself and realizing, you know, I'm on my own journey. They're doing their own thing. You don't know half the story about what these guys are posting 100%. About. So
I've even thought that way since I was a kid. Like, for example, you know, maybe there's a kid in school who like, you know, is the cool kid or whatever. You're like, you never know what's actually going on in their life. Like, for example, and I say, if you're jealous of somebody, which I try not to even believe in jealousy. I don't even think it's real. I know it is, but like, you have to want to change lives with them completely. Like, for example, people are like, I want Justin Bieber's life. And it's like, well, then you have to take on everything he deals with. He can't go out in public. He can't even park his car and walk out without somebody. Like, do you want that?
You can't either, though. I've seen whenever you go up to places.
Right.
The brown Justin Bieber.
No, speaking of which, congrats on the new car. Let's side tangent. Join the 911 gang. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
That thing is sick. It was a big upgrade from the Tesla.
Never again. Teslas are just not it. You've told me this. Everyone has told me this.
I drove one earlier today, actually.
A Tesla you drove?
Yeah.
Test drive?
I wanted to try the what's a hands-free drive or the whatever.
Autopilot?
Full self-driving. Yeah.
You could go to CarMax and get one for like 20 grand now. They're like worth nothing.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
It's like Elon's demise or now Twitter going just
brutal.
Thoughts on that? Are you on Threads yet?
Yeah, I was with George. We were at Drake, and he's like, "Dude, you're not on Threads." I'm like, "Dude, look at the concert, bro." I'm like, "Watch the concert." He's like, "Dude, I've already got 200 followers on Threads." I'm like, dude, "Here's the problem. Here's my gripe with new platforms. I think Threads is cool. I think it gives you those OG vibes. The problem is everyone thinks like by like being like they were on Clubhouse, like by acting like they're this like crazy personality that they're gonna like blow up on a new like social media, and then they're gonna be like become the next like Nelk boys because they're posting like edgy shit, whatever it may be, right? But it's like, dude, that ship, I don't want to say it like in like a, you know, negative way, but like that ship kind of like sailed. Like you get rewarded for like posting good content and building and, you know, whatever. You're not just gonna like, everyone wants this like magic thing. I know it sounds cliche as fuck, but like everyone wants this like magic thing. Like, oh, if I blow up on Threads, then it's not gonna translate everywhere else. Like, no. You know what I mean? It's like being like Twitter famous. I'm sure you can monetize it. You definitely can, and it's cool. It's just like to me, it's so cringe. I'm like, oh man.
No, but seeing just, I mean, I think they're at 70 million users now in 48 hours or something like that. Just seeing the amount of hype that they were able to garner just through Twitter beef with Elon and Zuck. And obviously Instagram being such an active platform as it is already, they give you the first thing whenever you open the app is like download our new platform. So that's why, you know, they have a lot of people now on there. Do I think it's going to stay and overtake Twitter? this is where like I'm starting to believe yes.
That's possible.
I think
That's
it might.
possible.
I think it actually might. I'm enjoying using Threads more than I am
it's
Twitter
super.
now.
Yeah. I don't
because
use
Twitter's filled with all this nonsense. It's filled with all the porn bots. It's filled with just OnlyFans girls and all the cigar smokers and all this just nonsense. Just Threads doesn't have any of that. It's like it feels more wholesome.
And exactly. I'm not trying to be pessimistic here. And I think that the real lesson is to look at like how like even at a big scale, social media company, like that whole, maybe it wasn't planned out, maybe it's a conspiracy, but like the whole thing with like Elon fighting Zuckerberg, like that was like really well done. Like
I think it probably was planned on Zuck's
You'd
end.
think so, yeah.
Elon probably didn't know about it.
Oh yeah, Elon, of course.
He wouldn't want to entertain all that to, see. I wonder what the daily active user drop off was on Twitter the day after Threads dropped.
For sure.
I'd be really curious to know what that metric is. Obviously, they're not going to post that because Twitter's a private company now.
And time will tell.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it was like a cool, like, if you take anything from it, obviously, I think no problem with people using Threads. It's a good app. I get it. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying that first month of everyone, like, you know what I mean?
The hype is there.
When people are like, that's why I'm against it.
That's one of the first things that I put out on Threads.
And when you post it, I'm like, that's exactly right. And the only thing, it just, I don't know, people come out of the woodworks when there's a new platform. And to me, it's like, that's just the cringe part. But everything else is great about it. I think the functionality, everything's great. But the real play is like these mass marketing. Because I feel like Zuck took a play out of like Elon's playbook of like being this mass personable guy.
He's becoming that now.
And that's
he's becoming a lot more lovable.
That's the next evolution of like having these products to market. You can't be the guy who's hated for, because no one really liked him. Like in a way, not saying in a bad way. He's not like, nothing he did really wrong, but he wasn't very personable.
Very robotic, very lizard. They're calling him the lizard. That's what he was like, just cold-blooded like a lizard.
Yeah.
And a lot of Zuck hate too with ad accounts and Meta not performing.
Now Mine are back.
Meta's starting to perform a little bit more, so people are starting to like him.
For sure.
His stock is back too. It's like
I feel like good for him because he's probably getting a dopamine rush that he's never had because everyone's like, damn, you killed it with this one. Like, when's the last time you've heard anyone hate on Elon? The fact that they are now, I'm like, that's pretty impressive.
A lot of people are hating on Elon now for sure.
But speaking about like mass appeal audience moves, because I feel like there's a lot of things, because everyone knows, e-commerce, you run ads to a product and you sell it, whatever. Yeah. But I feel like you've always done things like backdoor different that are like super like showing of how markets actually work, but no one like boasts about them because they take more effort.
Right.
So for example, Sweet Dreams has been around since we launched it out of the old office 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Literally taking boxes out of the Range Rover whenever you had it, bringing up flights of stairs and fulfilling.
Literally sweating, like hating life.
I didn't put in that much work. You were the one doing the work, and I was paying. I was giving you payments to do the work.
Yeah, for sure.
But like even just like looking back at those times, it's like, damn, like those were good times.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
God knows if they're gonna come back like that ever again.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, I was on like a low coming down off of like my good swing and you were, starting it up, but it's crazy to see now that like you stuck to, pinning that a lot of people quit things too early before they have the ability to get successful because realistically, I think they either get burned out or lazy. Burned out meaning put too much time, effort, capital into something and it's not working. So you're thinking, burn the boats, I'm going to start something else, right? So you just burn the bridge and then you can't get across. Anyways, the thing is with this brand is like you didn't let it go, probably because of such a high capital investment and Peter's invoices. But
Peter's invoices waxed me.
You're like, dude, I'm already 6 figures into this.
Peter took all my money, man.
Literally, you're like, if this doesn't work, nothing else will. So now, which was what I was getting at, is like you've created this to be a viral TikTok product.
Well, yes, that wasn't the plan though. It just kind of ended up going viral, but there were a lot of subconscious decisions. Obviously, when creating the brand, I wanted to make it a fun brand, a playful brand on something that pharmaceutical companies and these really like old generic direct response sort of things were taking this approach on and made it very medicinal. I wanted to make a sleep aid brand that would come out of the woodworks as a fun brand, a brand that you want to take, something that tastes good, something that's gonna, just make you feel good. Absolutely. And you look at it and it's a cool product too. It's not like a disgusting pill bottle or anything like that. And not to mention like those products are very heavily like just chemical filled. You don't know where they're coming from. A lot of times it's bad ingredients that make you feel groggy. And that's why I wanted to create Sweet Dreams in the first place. And for those of you guys who are new, if this is probably going to clip this, but started the brand as a oil brand. And it was good. It was a good vertical for sure. We knew that it worked. The product was great, but at the end of the day, it's very hard to market an oil versus a gummy. And I always knew that when I wanted to do this brand, I have the note in my phone from October 2019 when I first moved to LA and when I first wanted to get into CBD and doing that kind of stuff. The first note that I made was Sweet Dreams Gummies. That's the first ever note that I made with this brand name in my mind. It was 4 a.m. in Hawaii. Probably woke up in the middle of the night just because I couldn't sleep or something. And I'm like, you know what? I'll come up with this brand, call it Sweet Dreams, make it fun and playful and attract a younger audience instead of just like this basic, pharmacy stuff. And that's kind of where the brand came to be. And the oil was a great vertical to launch because it was very easy. It was as easy as finding like the right manufacturer who can just put together these, simple oils and a melatonin extract and do this stuff. But where I did things differently was the vessel that I was carrying in. The product wasn't anything groundbreaking. It wasn't. But the packaging, the branding, and the experience that I was putting behind this product was something that no one has ever done before. I think in really the ecom space, like in our sort of circle and stuff, no one had attempted to really build a real brand or like put their name on it or anything like that. So I figured I'd be the guinea pig, make something cool and see how it worked. And it ended up working great. And yeah, I like to make stuff unique. That's like my thing. No, and with these gummies too. Wait, should I talk about like did I ever talk about the journey of? I did, right? Last podcast about stopping Sweet Dreams and restarting it.
Let's hit some touch points for people who didn't watch the last one.
Okay. Yeah. So touch points, started the brand in 2021, launched it in July 2021, was a relatively successful launch. It did well. But I had a lot of problems with media buying because it was a CBD oil and it was very hard to call it anything other than a CBD oil. So ran into a lot of stresses there, launched a free trial product, which got glass shards in your eye. I remember this.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
They're like these little mini vials filled with the oil. It came in a pack of 3 and we're just selling it for free plus shipping. That did a great job to get acquisitions up. And that was great. But again, ran into ad account issues, ran into all this stuff. TikTok organic wasn't really that big at the time. If it was, I just didn't know anything. I was fading TikTok so much. Yeah. Didn't think anything of it. And it just got to a point where like, the brand was taking more from me. It wasn't like net positive when I was paying Peter's invoices or paying, the media buyer stuff or any of that stuff. It just ended up being break even. And at the time, like we were in like a gold rush time where stocks were ripping, everyone seemed to be making money elsewhere. Yeah. So I started doing another ecom brand, just drop shipping products. And, that far surpassed the revenue that Sweet Dreams, was that right? Wait, hang on. Sweet Dreams launched in...
Might have been 20.
Oh, hang on.
It was 20, July 20.
It was in the middle of the pandemic.
It was July 20.
Wait,
probably.
What did I do after Sweet Dreams?
I don't know. Did you sell drop ship? Just tell us what product was it? Were you selling the Astro lamps or what were you selling?
that was before Sweet Dreams actually. So okay. I think after Sweet Dreams, I think the reason I stopped Sweet Dreams was to trade stocks. Yeah. It was stock trading. It was stock trading. Yeah. It was options trading. I remember vividly now because I made a video on trading stocks on the Robinhood app. So I stopped the brand to make cash. Like I wasn't making money because it just wasn't working. The ad accounts were giving me problems. TikTok organic wasn't really a thing. And at the time, everyone was making so much money off stock. So it just seemed like the right thing to do. And it looking hindsight, maybe it wasn't the right thing to do.
Did you make money or did you lose money?
Net negative.
That's the only question that matters because I know the feeling. We're all
we made the thing is a lot of money was made, but not a lot of money was kept. That's the biggest problem.
It's not about how much money, but how much you keep. I asked George yesterday, we were eating sushi. I'm like, I feel like there's been enough years. I'm like, what was your Robinhood at like in March, like 2020? Man. I'm like, didn't it hit like 500K? He's like, yeah, 550. Yeah. And I'm like, do I even want to ask how much? He's like, no. I'm like, that's the thing. You got to know when to hold it, when to fold them. I don't trade because I don't know. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people do. Yeah. I've learned that lesson countless times when people's like, oh, this is ripping. I'm like,
yeah.
you know, I'd better focus other places. And I think it's a good analogy, where you said like you stop something that you already had a long-term focus and goal on.
Because I knew I'd want to revisit it. This is my child.
For sure.
I'm not going to abandon my child forever. I just needed to give it some time.
Needed a break.
I need to just give it a break. Hopefully when I have a child, I don't get sick of it at like year 2 and give it to someone else to take care of.
That's funny.
But I think it was a good experience. I like to experience things. I like to do new businesses. It's what a dropshipper mentality is. Every time you see something pop up, you want to take a stab at it and see how you can do it. Yeah. So trading was that thing for me, and that was great. But looking back at it, I regret doing that. I should have stuck with the brand and powered through that sort of just like shitty phase of like maybe a couple of months we are negative. Then you can't treat it like a drop shipping company, because you're building a brand. You're building a long-term brand. You want to sell for $100 million. What are you going to do whenever you lose 20K in a month? You're not going to quit. Yeah. You shouldn't quit if your end goal is to sell for $100 million. You fight through it, you figure out the problems, and then you start to scale from there. Because every problem in terms of media buying and product selling, there is a solution. People sell anything nowadays.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the problem comes from, we get in these like weak points of low stability because of cash flow, right? You burn through too much cash. I was talking to George about the same thing yesterday on the podcast. Like you lose your runway, and he did it too with software. Yeah. We've all done it before. It's like they're probably in every failure you've had. I mean, it's hindsight's 2020, say it every day of my life. But in every failure you have, the reason it probably failed is because you stopped giving the initial attention that made it work in the first place.
Yes.
And if you do that, then it makes total mathematical sense for it to not work and to lose money. And then that compounds on top of itself and on top of itself. And if you keep trying to do the exact same thing that made it work in the first place, that's great. But you have
to iterate,
constantly iterate on it, because especially that's why it works. Yeah. And a lot of people will come to me, even like with a brand like House. I'm like, oh, why don't you keep it going? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like you can, like you do.
I actually met someone the other day who's selling 500K a month of resistance bands. Wow. But he positioned it as a Pilates brand.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's getting all the Pilates girlies. He's getting the old women that like to do Pilates.
And that's an angle. That's a pivot. Those things.
You gotta learn how to pivot in business.
Exactly. And I think even when it comes to hiring too many people or doing whatever, you need to be able to, and that's rightfully so. The problem isn't that it's a bad product or whatever. It's like you have to be able to adjust the angle, even with these advertorials these days. Oh yeah. I've been looking into it. I'm like, man, this is such a great way to sell a product.
But and it works. You wouldn't think that it works because we know how it's written, but if you're selling to a cold audience and they're reading this story about, like we did an advertorial for Sweet Dreams, and I'll get into the gummy stuff and all that. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot that I wanted to talk about with that. But advertorials are crazy. You can come up with the craziest story, tie in the product, and then you can sell anything you want.
For sure.
You can turn a dead product into a winning product just with a good story.
Absolutely. And I think, specifically having the e-commerce knowledge and stuff, it reminds me of something Hermosi talks about. I think somebody else told him, every single year, if you don't make, you could change the numbers however you want, but every single year you don't make $1 million, $1 million, you're essentially being taxed $1 million for the ignorance debt. Yeah. And a lot of these things are how to build a brand, run the ads, do the stuff, but it's well, you ran out of energy to build a new angle, to repurpose, because it doesn't feel fun when I say it's hot outside, you're frustrated, you're like, oh man, I'm just lost all this $5,000 last week on running these ads, they're negative, this product sucks. Yep. You don't want to do it. Yep. And I'm not saying that's the thing you have to do, the willpower you have to push you. Sometimes it is just a bad product that's oversaturated. Right? That's fine.
There will be losing products for sure.
And that's where we've talked about countless times why brands are something you do, longevity, whatever. But I think that's something too, I think we all focus on is what can you focus on for a longer period of time? Yeah. Just tying back to what we talked about earlier, that's one thing that there's always a constant with YouTube. It's well, I know no matter what. Maybe if the
personal
topics change, personal
that's
brand, one thing is never going to go away.
Exactly. It only goes away whenever your time here on earth is done.
And
that's it.
That's, in a way, it's the only way you can save the most real way of yourself online. I look at, if you're going to put any investment into your future family or kids or whatever, it's well, you have all the nuance, obviously outside of these crazy AI ideas, but you have all these nuances, these videos, these high quality stuff that you can share with other people. And I don't know, that's why I love it. And so I think just to pin that, it's really hard to keep that drop shipping mentality of constantly launching new products. It's really hard to love the next product. And unless you really make a ton of money, you're not even scaling on that big of a margin. So physical products are really hard without some kind of exit.
You're going at a 20% margin. You're
and
making
that's like
peanuts. You're doing 10 grand a day. You're walking home with 1,500, 2K after every ad cost, product cost, processing fees, refunds, chargebacks. It's like, bro, you're working a minimum wage job, drop shipping.
And you wake up every day like wondering if your ad account's gonna get banned and this train's gonna be over.
It's a miserable life.
Yeah,
it's a miserable life. If I was a complete beginner right now, what I would do is stop being a lazy fuck, learn how to use TikTok and don't fade TikTok. Train your TikTok algorithm to feed you winning products. Make a TikTok dropshipping store. So learn how to make viral content, which some of my, like two of my really good friends, Nikolai and Jason, are actually building out this course. And it's proven to work because it's worked for Sweet Dream stuff. It's worked with creators that we've worked with. And they're building out this program that teaches you how to make viral content. That's going to change the game. For anybody that's looking to get started with like TikTok drop shipping or looking to become a creator. So first, learn how to become a creator. You don't want to take the upfront risk of starting a brand and doing all that stuff. Become a creator, order the product, make a TikTok account and try posting one video a day for a month straight. Time is on your side whenever you're broke and you don't have anything going for you. It's like the only thing that you should be investing in is your time on this platform to make something work. And you don't have to test one product at a time. You can do 2, 3, 4 products, whatever you see is working. You find the proven product on TikTok just based on your algorithm, or go on like PP ads or like whatever. That's a funny name, PP ads. Find the winning product. Order the product, start shooting viral sort of content that you've seen work on TikTok or on Facebook ads or whatever, and see if it works. And if it works, you'll know if it works because you're going to start getting sales.
100%.
That's just the way it works. And then once that starts working, you run Spark ads to the viral videos, and then you have a money machine until your product ends up dying out. Do this 1 to 5 times, save up 100 grand. And with that 100 grand, start a brand with something that you love, something that solves a problem, and something that you think has exit potential. That's the playbook.
You just laid it out. Literally, that's it. And
that's the playbook.
And it costs literally zero money to start, just a little bit of effort. Like product, I'm thinking, because people are like, oh, what's a viral? There's a bunch of different ways to skin a cat, but like, for example, like the cold plunge things became huge. It's $100, $120 product. You buy it for $40. You've got $80 of margin. You can not only sell it organically. Like if a kid just did that every day, which I've seen it, kids get in the cold plunge every day. They make funny skits out of it, whatever. You could literally just make a new skit every day.
I know some people making a disgusting amount of money with that
product.
And I know that. I know that you probably would have crushed that product.
It's
definitely up your alley.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something I've been into for a long time, like the whole cold thing. But that's the one thing too with like, for example, dialing it back to what we talked about earlier with quitting everything. I'm like, man, that's something where like I actually could have flicked that on and done a $500,000 month again, maybe $1 million month. And now I have the capital to scale. I'm like, damn, I could have just flicked it on.
But now it might be a little bit. I still think that there's time because some of these brands are not utilizing organic and they're not really pushing as hard as they can.
For sure.
But they're starting to get into it, and it's like you feel like you're late to the race. Maybe you can make an extra 50 grand a month or 100K a month off of it, but.
And that's the thing where people would hear that and they're like, they're going to be searching it right away.
They're going
like
right now. They're going Alibaba.
Oh man, it's 40.
It's a logistical nightmare.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that. They hear me say that and they're like, oh, this. I'm like, okay. First of all, the reason I don't dabble in it is because here's what's going to happen. You're going to order the same one everyone else has.
Yes.
Everyone else is waiting on more inventory. That's why I only see 3 on Amazon. And then in 4 months, when no one wants to buy your product anymore, even when you pay $150 for the ad to sell a $120 product, which is terrible. They're going to be flooded on Amazon with a bunch of people selling it for $50 because they're just trying to recoup their money. So it's one of those things where if you get into that thing with, brands or whatever, and it's very hard to time it out, right? Like to a point where like, then you're going to have to get a warehouse or somewhere to store it if you're going to ship it from the United States. And you are probably going to get stuck with product because that product has no differentiator at all. Like, especially if you do that one.
Exactly.
An angle might be getting a maybe more expensive one or whatever, but
expensive one, different country, like drop shipping or whatever, but
it's just one of those. I'm just using it as an example. You would have easily seen that on TikTok 4 months ago. You could easily order one from Amazon with the $100 you have saved in your bank account, and you could easily start creating content with it. And
the guys that I know that started it, the first one that started it back in October.
Wow.
So he was early. He was early. He branded it. He did a great job. Nowadays I'm seeing people just like drop the sauce, like openly post the sauce on their Twitters, on their YouTube, everything. And they're literally breaking down every piece of the successful viral marketing scheme. I like to gatekeep shit.
Yeah.
I don't like telling people my business.
He doesn't even tell me. So.
I don't like telling people my business, but if you see it and you analyze it yourself, then I will respect you to go ahead and you know, copy the scheme or whatever it is. But I'm starting to see a lot more transparency now, a lot more building in public. I will say I was definitely one of the first people to do the building in public shit with Sweet Dreams. I showed everything that it took to build the brand and all of that. And now like everyone's doing this building in public thing. But I think building in private is better.
Peter.
Yeah. Shout out Peter, shout out Luca. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really good. Well,
you can't copy what they're doing. You need millions of dollars to copy what they're doing. And not to mention the talent that they have. It's like, it's impossible to come to that level. And they're doing a really great job with that. That's like a huge core reason as to why Pudgy is so successful right now.
For sure.
It's because they're showing off the nitty gritty stuff. They're showing off the real grind, like Peter flying to Indianapolis to, you know, literally sweat. I see sweat beaming down his forehead, putting together these display stuff and stuff like that. It's just so much more respectable to see that.
Yeah.
But for them, it makes complete sense because, you know, you're buying into their NFT project, you're buying their merchandise that they're selling. And it just makes sense for that and for them to showcase all of that. But I'm talking like these Ecom kids and these people that are, you know, selling like viral products and drop shipping products. It's like, why do you want to tell everyone what you're doing? Because the shit just going to become super saturated. If I'm going to lay the playbook out, sure, maybe only 5 out of 100 people will actually carry on with it, but it makes things harder for you. Saturation is a real thing, especially if you're selling a very similar product. So that's why like now I'm a lot more quiet with what I do. If you see my success on TikTok, if you see my success on Meta, whatever, you will see it, but I'm not going to explain the nitty gritty on how it happens. You can kind of infer how it happens, but I'm not going to be out here teaching you how to do exactly what I did because I'm too busy. You know, I'm watering my grass. I don't care to, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to.
You can't be half, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Here's why. For example, back then, like our first podcast or something, like if we're like, we're not sitting on $100 million where we like, hey, let's lay out this. Maybe you don't need that much money. But like, for example, I'll make like the Peter McKinnon approach, right? Not saying like, back in the day, Tom and I have talked about it, but like back in the day, like everyone kind of gatekeeped like their camera secrets. So like you'd be like, how'd you get that smooth handheld shot with like 120 frames per second?
Sam Calder too. Sam Calder is a really good example too because he would gatekeep his transitions, his editing style. Now he has a course that sells tens of millions of dollars.
It's making the transition to where you make so much absurdly more selling how to do it than you do actually doing it. So a lot of people get it twisted. Like they try and do it too quick. Like I don't know, if you don't really have that big of an audience, are you going to really screw anyone over? Not really. But like it's kind of like a personal thing. Even if no one copies you, it's probably not even good to get in your head about it.
It's so much better to stay silent and it's so much more peaceful to build in private, and being off of YouTube and not posting anything about anything that I'm doing has just given me such a strong peace of mind. And I feel like, you know, people see the brand and they see where it's at right now and it's just like, damn, like, good job.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Like I didn't have to flex it. I didn't have to do anything. If I wanted to, I can definitely go ahead and start doing it.
And I feel like it's doing better because you're not.
Yeah,
maybe because you're not focusing on the.
I prefer to stay focused on it.
But it only matters because I mean it's like the cliche sayings of like make the success make the noise or whatever. It only really like if you keep it private, it will show, and if it shows, it means it's working. But if you keep it public, you are like cheating your way to success in your head. You make a video, you're like building this part of the brand, whatever. You don't know for sure if what you're doing is going to be that like great. So you're kind of like shortchanging the dopamine cycle of being like, oh, well, like today we got the packaging and this or whatever. And without the sales, it's really hard to even keep that motivation to keep going.
Exactly. That's part of the reason why also I stopped the stuff with Sweet Dreams. Cause like what happens when I bring an investor on and I don't want to start, I just cannot share my financials anymore. Then what keeps you watching? You can watch on the sidelines and you can see the growth, but I will never talk about numbers ever again. My grandfather and my mother always told me when I was making these drop shipping videos, don't ever post numbers online ever, because it just attracts unnecessary like evil eye. Because I really believe in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like one day I'll post a video and then next day my PayPal will get shut down. It's like, bro, like what are the odds of that?
No one's like, because you have these random little savages out there.
They'll be plotting on your downfall. They'll be doing some juju. Like you don't want to want
whatever
to
it may be.
It's
No, I couldn't agree more.
But if you do have a personal brand where you're selling a course, or you're selling a coaching program, or you're selling a service, then I understand why it makes sense to show a little bit about, you know, the success
even like
behind
Bia
it.
Heza, if he's gonna if he's gonna build a brand and scale it, 10,000 other people are going to copy that same brand next day. But of course, like literally, no pun intended, sell the course makes more money, obviously. Exactly. And it's the audience that he's building and stuff like that. So
it makes when
you're at that level, or even if that's your strategy, that's a different strategy. It's just like if you're trying to make an income from, you know, just products in general, it definitely is like one of those things where
I think private life is just amazing.
But I feel like in a way, like, all the info still is out there. You could still YouTube everything.
It's out there. And even if you don't look at it, you can still look at brands that have went viral, and you just reverse engineer it and see where they started. Look at the accounts, look at the videos that they're making. And you can
and think about why they're, you know what I mean? 100%.
Exactly. And like, even with Sweet Dreams too, like for me, it was a simple playbook. Make a viral looking product, which it was partially the intent because it just aligns with the brand vibe and with what we have. But I'll show them right here. Or should I show? Which camera should I show? This one. So this is my brand, Sweet Dreams. I sell melatonin gummies with other ingredients, and they are shaped like little moons. These don't really look the best right now because summer months are very brutal for gummies. So they start melting and discoloring and stuff like that. But during the colder months when we first launched in February, it was like we made a really good looking product. We made a product that tasted delicious, and we made packaging that is just like very eye catching. Even if you don't have trouble sleeping, if you see this shiny Sweet Dreams logo and you see this like cool nighttime vibe, you're going to want to know what it is. So the curiosity factor is there. So if you're starting a brand, take those things in mind and build from there. You don't want to build something that's just dead and very boring. So we made a very boring category. We made a very boring product category very fun. And I feel like the shape of the gummy and the way that it glistens whenever you hit it with a little bit of light, that's what made it go viral. And that's why people really loved it. And also because sleep is such a big problem. Like people just have trouble sleeping. So that was my little formula here for success. And that's all I'll say is just like, it's a product that people love. I love the product. You haven't tried the gummies yet, which I'm so surprised I haven't sent you. I'm so sorry.
I'm still surprised too.
I'm so sorry.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, you'll try it and you'll love it. Like it works. And this is it for me right now. Like I know that this is my end all be all. We're going to iterate with this product, keep scaling on different platforms. And, you know, one day you'll see the headline of a major acquisition happen. And, you know, who knows, maybe I'll come back on YouTube and start explaining again a little bit about the process of building and just giving experience. But I think that's counterintuitive right now. It's just like, maybe I'll vlog, maybe I'll do something. It's just I got to focus. You got to focus on one thing and really become the best at it.
Absolutely. And
that's the way.
Mosey talks about all the time, like, you know, you do stuff first. Andy Purcell is a big proponent. Do it first and talk about it later. Kind of. And I think it's done well for you to do it like that. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what you do with the brand, because I feel like a lot of the stuff is very counter. It's not like you just, here's the thing, you've created so much distance between like somebody who would want to start one like today and like just copy, because it's very, there's so much other stuff in between.
It's hard to like copy brands. Like people try to copy tabs, but like it's not going to work.
No,
you might make a little bit of money here and there just because it's such a big, broad market, but they've built so much brand equity and like they became like a almost like a household name on for like the TikTok audience. That it's just like, it's not worth wasting your time to do.
You should be thinking about which is the harder thing to do, making the next tabs, which really comes down to like reverse engineering. I think people get in their head when you say reverse engineering, something like that. They're like, all right, how can I make a chocolate that does this? It's like, that's not the point.
No,
the point is you create something with the mechanism behind it,
the virality behind it. Like people overlook the mechanism. Mechanism is so important. And I really started to educate myself with the VSL stuff and going more direct response marketing. because those guys are the ones who are making 20, $30 million a year, and they're not flexing anything.
Yeah,
the only flex that they're doing is whenever they're pulling up to, their Michelin star dinner and their Aventador with the top off with a beautiful wife. Like that's the flex now. You know what I mean? So those people are the ones that are really making the money, but that's regardless of what I was trying to say. So direct response marketing is something that I feel like people should really start to focus on. You have to learn how to really sell a product. That's like really the most important thing. And it's not as easy as posting a TikTok and having a caption that's funny. You got to like really look at the psychology behind it. What is going to make someone curious enough to want to learn more about your brand, learn more about your product? So if you're in a boring product category, figure out a way to make it fun and spike curiosity and make it shareable for people. Like that, those are some huge takeaways for virality and success.
I mean, because if you get virality, you don't have to spend the money on the ads, and you don't have to really. I mean, you don't have to worry about the margins even as much because you have the ability. So I feel like reverse engineering there, it costs the least amount of money, just the effort. And people hate the effort. I get that. People hate the effort.
Even I faded TikTok so heavily. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I didn't think that it was going to work, and then within the first week of launching and getting the product to some creators, like it just ended up working. And I think it's just, the subconscious programming of the product, it just made it work. Yeah. It's just like, it just happened.
For sure.
There's like no secret sauce behind it, no magic. It's just like, damn, it's a good product.
Are you going to scale with crazier creators, or do you have
we're going to do a bunch of like creator expansion. I haven't really been doing much paid ads. So trying to dabble into that now as well. But that's where the direct response approach and following like VSLs and stuff like that to really learn how to sell a product. Yeah. That's like the biggest thing, is how to get into the mind of someone that is looking for a solution to their problem and presenting yourself as the best solution to that problem.
For sure.
So that's like the plan right now. Scale the brand and then, build for a couple years, and, God willing, someone comes across this brand and they're like, this will look great in my portfolio of brands. It's doing $20, $30 million a year revenue. We'll buy you for 100, whatever. Like, I don't care. $100 million was the clickbait. Yeah. But like realistically speaking, all you really need to live a really good life is, you don't need $100 million. You don't need like that crazy amount of money. $10 to $15 million is all you need. Yeah. You can live a very comfortable life. You can buy your dream home. You can take care of your family. You can fly on private jets if that's what you want to do. Yeah. You can take the luxurious vacations. You can eat really good food. You can live a very good life with that much money. And everyone in this Ecom space and marketing and all this, we have huge numbers in our mind at all times because we see people making 30, 40, 50K a day. But like, you don't need that much money. It's not essential. The more money you make, obviously it's better, but setting that baseline for yourself to, let's say, have X amount of net worth, $5 million, $10 million, to set something that's realistic. Yeah. I feel like I had my head in the clouds when I was starting the brand, for sure. $100 million is a lot of money. And times are obviously changing now. We're more in a conservative, bearish market. So you got to be a little bit more realistic now. But
absolutely.
You can live a very good life with 8 figures.
Yeah, for sure. And I know people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, obviously.
Yeah. No, but you got to understand that money, like we know this, money runs out quick. Yeah. It runs out quick.
For sure it does. For sure.
It does. You would think that you can make the penny stretch, but you can't.
No, yeah.
With this life right now.
Something needs to come in.
Yeah. With this life right now and how expensive everything is, you need a lot of money to live a good life.
For sure. And I feel like your mentality a little bit differently. I feel like you can turn off a little bit. Like you could exit a brand, I could see you, and like move to Hawaii and like not like totally.
But I don't think I will.
No, I don't think. But
I think taking a playbook, like that's what I wanted, right? Like when I started the brand and when I was like, okay, this is my end goal. After this, I retire. But I love innovating and I love making products and I love just the dopamine rush that I get from making something from scratch, go viral. And then not only that, but actually impact someone's life and make them enjoy their product and it helps them in their life. Absolutely. That full cycle of brand ownership is the reason why I'm doing what I do. I could do anything else. I could have stuck with trading and made that work, but I didn't want to do that because that doesn't have an end game. Yeah. This has an end game.
No compounding effect.
Yeah. You want to do something that will compound and have like long-term value. But yeah, starting brand after brand after brand, I think is what I'll probably end up doing.
Yeah,
Make a
and I think it's the
conglomerate.
coolest thing. And looking back, like the two people I look up to a ton are Steven Borelli with Cuts,
Oh, yeah.
and then the biggest one is Dylan Jacob with
Brewmate,
Brewmate, because
yeah.
I just feel like I have the same interests as that guy.
Did they
and
exit
like,
yet or no?
no, I think they got a big investment, but like, what a sick brand! Like,
Yeah.
well done,
Yeah.
mass market,
Mass
like
market.
does all the cool stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and like really, like when you're on a boat, like it's a cool brand. Like if somebody like that, it's just
Right.
a cool brand. And I
Right,
think
right.
it takes a long time to get there. Like for example, if you go to somebody's house and you saw this on their nightstand, whatever, it's a cool perk of it,
a
and it's one of those things
dopamine rush.
where it never stops. Like yesterday, I was at the United Center, saw Drake again.
Oh, you went again?
Yeah, my other friend invited me.
Oh,
Anyways,
okay.
and I was looking around and I saw like.
This guy's Drake's biggest fan.
Dude, okay. Long or the short of it,
Hey,
story time.
You went 2 times and I went zero times. You fucker.
You got scammed on that one. But anyways, long or the short of it, a stupid story, but my washer's been broken. My apartment's been dicking me around. They replaced it, but I was out of shirts, right? And I always wear built shirts, always. And I like
you're
literally
wearing a built shirt right
always,
now.
yeah, or Cuts. They're a little cheaper than
Yeah,
built. So, but anyways, I was wearing like a button down instead, and I was looking around. I was jealous of all the guys in t-shirts because it was so hot. And then I started looking and realizing how many people were wearing built shirts. I had like in the group we went with like 15 people, like 4 of them. Then I just saw random brown kids. I'm like, damn, these guys are on it too. I'm like, yeah. And you think about it, I'm like, these are brands that started in like 2017, 18.
Yes.
And they're literally like, I'm going to a concert. Imagine you're there with like your girl, whatever, and you're looking around, like everyone's wearing you on their body as like a cool thing to wear to a Drake concert.
I mean, Young LA is doing that right now.
Oh
too.
yeah,
Young
no, that's
LA
crazy. They're going crazy.
That brand, like I work closely with their Google buyer and then their Facebook buyer as well. Yeah. And it's just cool to see like that growth and seeing like people at the gym wearing Young LA, even like myself buying from Young LA too. Like I'm not usually like a Ecom consumer.
Yeah.
So to buy from like a brand like that is like pretty cool. But yeah, it's just like that satisfaction of knowing that, you know, you can sell a product that people want. And then one day you run into someone that has bought from you. It's like that feeling is like,
and that only comes from building a big, good brand. Like you have to put like, and having a really, not saying you have to have a really bad asset, but at that point your site's not gonna have any holes in it. Like it's gonna be proper.
Right.
Your brand is gonna be proper. Your socials are gonna be proper. And I think that's just something that I love. Like that whole, not even like the recognition of being like, it's just like for somebody for it to be that big of scale, you're gonna have probably pretty solid setup and a pretty great customer experience. But yeah, I mean, I think realistically, you know, we've seen a lot of different ups and downs throughout our friends and just other people in the businesses, and I think the biggest takeaways are, number one, like we talked about, not comparing yourself to other people. Super cliche, but very true. And I think the biggest things we are both trying to focus on now is like honing focus in, building these products and brands that, you know, are actually, whether it's brand or even a software or personal brand, where you can actually compound it. You're not just constantly picking up and starting something new every day, building a new bridge. And I think too, on top of that, like creating a more like healthy lifestyle, not even just in like, you know, obviously the fitness realm is super important to me and I get in and out of it to the degrees that I want to all the time. But like, I think that is kind of like the optimal life, you know, like focusing on health, wealth, happiness. Everyone knows that already. But a lot of the happiness for me has always came from literally that progression. Like when I'm not doing, I mean, we've talked about it before and we say that like, I feel useless when I'm never making money the weekend, right?
Yeah.
We've said that go before. And it's like, I will come off like a hot streak and then I can't work on that project anymore because it's like not there. And I'm like, oh, like I get so frustrated because I like working more than pretty much everything else. Like, and not in the sense of like, I don't know how to describe it, but you know, when Alex Morosi says or whatever. And I think the more you can get to a point where you can work all the time and you can like align what you like to do with it. And like, that's what I've always liked about the creative stuff, is because it always feels like you have work to do and editing and stuff. And sometimes when you start to outsource too much, not only does it get a little like dead of like character that you once put on it, but also like there's not that much stuff for you to really do anymore.
That's right.
Which also is like super frustrating, it seems it's like over optimization, I like to call it.
And that is a big struggle with brand ownership. Whenever you delegate, I mean, I saw a tweet today from Ron Shaw, the guy that runs, what is it, MyObvi? He put out a good tweet today where it was like the jobs, or the job of a founder, right? One is get the money, make sure that you're cash flowing. Second, is delegate the tasks that you don't need to do. So be your HR and hire the right people. And then I forget what the third thing is, but I think just those two concepts alone are just the most important thing. Like, the third one is be a good leader.
Okay. Yeah.
So these three things are the core principles of a founder. A founder should be, in the trenches and know how each piece of the puzzle works. So that way the people who you delegate the tasks to, they know, you know the work that they're doing is good or bad. But to a certain extent, it can get a little bit, definitely very tough, because if you're not doing stuff, you feel like you're not productive, and you're also relying on someone else to do the stuff that you think you could be doing. For sure. But your job as a founder, again, is these three things. You shouldn't be focused on doing the nitty gritty and all that small nonsense. That's why when, I went through a whole little phase where, I was around Peter and I was around Mo, and I was always at Peter's office, and I would see these guys like locked into the office, cranking out so much deep focus, deep work, this, that. And I'm like sitting there and I'm doing like very minute tasks that aren't really moving the needle. And I'm trying to like find myself becoming productive. Like I'm forcing myself to be productive, when in reality, like I have everything automated and everything is just kind of doing its own thing. So it is about the balance for sure. Yeah. Now I found a good balance where I am involving myself in the brand to push growth and do that, and being a founder. But also feeling like I'm being very useful to the company too, because before I didn't. I felt like I was being useless.
I think that's where the third one comes into play. Everyone says be a good leader, and I start when I hear that, I cringe, and I'm like, it's like not like, I just feel like, what are we in, like corporate? Like, no, that's not what he means. It's like being a good leader is like being on top of the team and like actually moving the needle forward, because you can't rely on people that everyone knows this, but like you can't rely on other people to have the same passion about your business or brand as you. So for example, even like if you were like, we're going to go work on this influencer campaign, and somebody sent out the product, or they bought 100, whatever. And it's like, are they going to be analyzing like the little things that like these little nuances and micro creators, or even with like your background, like, the product that blew up for you back when I met you, like if you were paying somebody to do like influencer reach outs or whatever, would that have happened? The answer is no. Like, because that's ingenuity, and like that product would never worked if that didn't happen. Yeah,
you still need to bring your charisma to the brand for sure.
And I think that's being a good leader.
Yes,
because if you get that little sauce comes off of it, then it's like, what do you do? I mean, it could work. I just feel like not only do you feel like a little dead inside, like I've been there, but then it also kind of like, it's like, what's the goal here? What are we trying to do? It's like trying to outsource all your social media to the Philippines. It's like, it's going to look not great.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like finding that middle ground. And also like, now, as you were saying, like finding that balance for a wholesome life and then doing that. I feel like there was also another tweet that I saw. It was the Dan Bilzerian picture of him on a yacht with like 8 girls or whatever, 10 girls, 20 girls, whatever. He always has like 100 women with him. And then it was another photo on the right of, I think it was Mark Zuckerberg, this is his like, his arc of becoming the likable character, but it was him with his wife and his 2 kids or 3 kids, whatever he has. And people now, I feel like, are starting to come to their senses and understanding that hedonistic lifestyle is not it. It's not it anymore. It's just not it. There's no satisfaction, the real satisfaction that comes from it. You feel very empty inside. You feel very dead inside. It's like, what are you really working for? It's like not having an end goal. That's that sort of lifestyle, which some people still love to live, which is whatever, to each their own. But now I'm starting to see the trend shift towards, you're making your money, you're saving your money for your family, you're doing things that are a lot more wholesome. People are starting to dress a lot more, like old money style and like toning it down a little bit. It's this trend that I'm starting to see where people are starting to not live a more modest life, but have more modest goals and have this sort of just better positive outlook on life. And I think that's like one of the good things that's happening right now. That sort of red pill stuff is starting to die down a little bit, and people are starting to focus more on their health, and they're starting to focus more on the things that really matter in life. Absolutely. And I think that just comes with age. Obviously, we've been through the phases of wanting the craziest stuff in life and the girls and the lavish whatever nonsense. But at the end of the day, what really matters, and what I don't see many people like preaching about now, is what really matters now is, yes, you got to have money, but you need to live a wholesome and fulfilled life too. That's something that people don't they don't really talk about
They
that.
don't prioritize it either.
They don't prioritize. Life is not all about making money. It's about how you enjoy your life while you're making money also. Because otherwise you're just stuck in this rat race that everyone else is in. They're just trying to make as much money as possible, try to one up each other, this, that. But what are you doing for yourself at the end of the day? That's what I don't see many people doing much stuff for themselves now, but it's starting to trend now towards understanding the real values of life.
Absolutely.
Which is super important.
Yeah. And that's a really good thing. We kind of went through all this like kind of like crap for the years. Like people get called out, and I feel like kind of like these cultures all align, like all this, the haters and everything aligned, and now everyone's like, all right, like the realer it is, the better it is, the more wholesome it is. Not saying it's over and done with. But, you know,
of course.
But it is a nice way to look at it. Even the cancel culture is kind of going away to a degree. People are kind of over it. But yeah, dude, I think I agree 100%. I mean, it really isn't all about money. Like, and it is definitely true. Like, I mean, not even like it definitely doesn't change your happiness levels. Like if you're like unhealthy, like feeling out of shape, you could have as much money as you want in the bank, but like it's so true. Like unhealthy, feeling out of shape, for example, like if you're like doing bad stuff, like if you're like drinking, like don't get me wrong, like I'm into it, but like too much, anything in excess, like a crazy excess is like, for example, even the Dan Bilzerian example, life is technically all about balance. Some people take it a little too far, and some people take it maybe a little too conservative. So it's like the more you can get towards that
healthy middle ground,
for sure. Like, would you rather, you know what I mean? Like, for example, like a bodybuilder, like you're all healthy, you're really healthy, but then you start taking steroids or something, and then you're putting stress in other areas. So it's like that's like one way. Then it's just the closer you can get to being kind of at the equilibrium with everything is much better.
That's it,
and it's always going to help. So
So where do we go from here, Kyle?
I mean,
with our years of experience in business and life, and kind of going through the woodworks of testing what works, what doesn't work, best plan of action going forward to living a good life and fulfilling life with success.
Absolutely. Well, number one, I think we talked about a lot was not comparing yourself to others. And that's not saying don't compare yourself to them because you're not them, because blah, blah, blah. It's like literally burn it into your brain. Like that is never going to serve you, number one, which still you're probably not going to want to listen. Now, on top of that, literally look at every single time you see somebody. If somebody posts, oh my God, I just made $1 million this month. Do you look at their life? Even look at their like hair or whatever. Be like, look at them. And just be like, do you want to be them? Like, I know, like whatever it may be. Like if they're like some like dork or whatever, you're like, do you want to be that guy? Like whatever it takes. I'm big on this thing of like tricking my brain, right? I'm like, oh, like you don't need to be a hater. You don't need to verbalize it. But it's like, you shouldn't be feeling, because all that's going to do is like push you down to like not work. And even it's the people you surround yourself with. I mentioned it with George, even like, you know, if you're a kid and you're chunky and gets picked on, whatever, I'm like, you don't have to go feeling that way the whole rest of your life. You could easily change it. And when you change it, you could, because I've even noticed that sometimes too, it's like you suppress yourself for no good reason. And it's like manifesting stuff you don't need to be manifesting in.
You got to keep that positive mentality at all times.
And that's part of the reason with the whole quitting thing, same thing, like kind of removing myself from that like negative energy of like people being able to reach me all the time and doing that stuff. Like,
which is why you don't reply to my texts anymore.
Exactly.
I get one reply a week.
This is
and
it's
only when I have an opportunity for him.
That's funny. But no, I think, okay, so number one, let's hit 3 each real quick. So number one is going to be, focus on yourself. Don't look at others. Number 2 would be definitely get in some level of regimen of health. I think the best cardio machine is a Stairmaster. Hit that thing for
tennis,
30.
Baby, tennis.
If you could cheat it, tennis and pickleball. I like pickleball now a little more.
Of course you do. You're like, that's the white boy coming out of you.
Exactly. And then, obviously some kind of regimen to keep you there, grounded there. And then I think something too, like I'm going to feel like I've already started to feel a little lost without the office. Like I really like to work on like cars, right?
Yeah.
But I don't need to do it as like an income source, but like even something just curating and collecting, like it's definitely something I want to do, because I don't like being cooped up in an apartment all day with a computer. Like I like it, but then there's a time where I'm like, all right, like in Chicago, there's like 2 things to do, like be inside on your computer or like go out and like spend money and drink, like and like eat food. Like that's literally what the 2, like if you're into being like West Loop, like that's literally literally what you do.
Literally,
like, or you go to the gym, like you know what I mean? And then it's like you only go to the gym for a couple hours, so it's like,
so what do you do with the rest of the day?
So that's one of those like battles where it's like, all right, it would be nice to have time for a hobby. It doesn't need to be right now, but it'll happen.
How many BMWs do you have right now?
The least amount I've had in a long time.
How many?
Probably like, I don't know, 3, I think.
3? Wow.
Yeah, just
that's
that.
3 more
9/11,
than
and
the
that's
average
it.
person.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
congratulations.
But no, we're dialing it down there. I think the whole going from like the extremes, you've seen it, and I've seen it with you. Like,
Yeah.
I've been like super over like leveraged and going crazy, or like super simple. I'm trying to always go towards the simplification, and then I always go back to my old ways. So it's like now it's just the biggest takeaway of my whole entrepreneurial journey since I've been like 11 is like I like burnt the candle at both ends for literally the last like 15 years. Like just never stopped. And like I'm not saying that in a cocky, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But I learned literally as soon as I started removing stuff and stuff, like I just need a couple good decisions, good moves. It takes a lot of effort, but it's like, I'd rather like the big swings. I really like the more strategic stuff where it's like
runs, baby.
The home runs. So
That's
it's
what
like,
you want to go for.
Yeah, you're a master of those.
Yeah, I'm good at lining up the ducks, and I'm good at sharpshooting them all.
And one of those home runs can beat out any job or anything. And I'm not saying it's a bad philosophy to tell new people, because then people are going to try swinging for the fences.
No, you need base hits. You need base hits before you get the home run.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to stack up all these wins, like these little mini wins, whether that be flipping stuff on eBay or going to a job or whatever.
Drop shipping store making, 20, 30 grand.
Little
profit.
Agency, like literally 100%. Like, and I'm not beyond any of it. Literally, I just think that the less I do that takes my time away from the things I can focus on best and most is going to serve me. And that's kind of the focus that I'm moving forward with. So I just think, I want to hear from you, like practical steps for the people watching to send them home with. Yeah. Like give me your 3 like baselines.
Number 1 for me, just the biggest takeaway is just consistency. That's been my biggest downfall. I know you said it already, but like just the biggest downfall is just not being consistent with anything that I've done, right? It's always been like one thing and then hop onto the next, hop onto the next. Yep. But when we look back at it, there's so much regret knowing that if we had just stuck with that one thing, who knows what it could have been. Yep. And that could have been question is what drives me nuts, which is why now it's just like, I know what I want and I know what I need to get there. And, I don't know how long the journey is going to be, but I know that motivation is going to be there. There will be ups and there will be downs, but the most important thing now is to power through the downs. Mm-hmm. Even if it's 3-4 months of just, not fun times, so be it. You're building yourself up for that future success that comes in. So that's the first thing. Absolutely. Stay as consistent as possible. Mm-hmm. Second thing, I feel like, you got them. You got them all, really. We're very aligned with it. For sure. Stay in your own lane, water your own grass. Don't care about, your neighbor's lawn. Sure. Focus on your lawn first. Yep.
And then you can help people. Yeah. Fill cups. Like, let it overflow.
Exactly.
And it'll come naturally. Yeah, for sure.
And then the third thing is find good friends. Yeah. That's like a huge thing. And I have been extremely grateful the last couple of months, like more so. Like, I think it's just, I don't even know what it was. It was just October for me. It was like a mindset switch for me, becoming more religious, becoming a better person, this, that. I appreciate my friends more because my friends keep me level-headed. They motivate me. They provide me with resources to get what I need done. Like shout out to Peter, shout out to you, shout out to Mo, shout out to Splashman, Eric. There's too many people to name, but like having a really quality circle of friends will get you to where you want to be. Absolutely. And not only that, you need to have friends that are, I hate to say this, but like friends that are below you in terms of like revenue and life pacing wise, but friends that are above you. You also don't want to be the wealthiest person in your friend group, because then that means that, you're not going to grow anymore. It's like you need to be around people that are making more money than you, people that are making less money than you, and kind of find that middle ground and absorbing all the good from them. They should have good habits and they should be motivating you to become the best version of yourself. A bad friend is someone who is not going to pull you out of that dark place. A good friend is someone who is going to, send you that text message to brighten up your day, to get your ass up, to get to the gym, or, work on this ad, or just get to work. So it's an extreme blessing to be able to have, friends like yourself that are there for you through the bad times. They're there for you to the good times. And that's like, it's huge. It's like without good friends, it's like this journey is boring. Yeah. Like, what are you going to do? Like everything by yourself? It's like, nope, you need to have good friends.
Exactly.
And a lot of people have bad friends, and that's why they're not as successful as they should be. It's because, you are the product of the people who you surround yourself with.
And it's one of those things, though, putting the effort and energy into what, like, regardless of what it is, like you're going to get in what you put in or whatever, get out what you put in. So same thing happens with friends and stuff when people have these maybe bad people, whatever. It's like, okay, well, if you're not providing it, it's obvious. It lays a foundation. But I agree. Even like you said, like having people motivate you, like even if it's yourself, like those little things every day, the little improvements, get out of your head. Like if you're doing YouTube, get out of your head.
Oh yeah.
Fucking post it. Yeah. Like just like, you know what I mean? Like make it worthwhile of watching, but like get it out there. Like, you get the creator block. If you're going to make a brand or whatever, launch the ads, figure it out, have a little slush fund, $500 a month. If it doesn't work, too bad. Like figure it out, but just close the loop so you can actually start to build momentum. Cause if you never close the loop, it's like you can never roll the ball across. It'll never get that first dollar or whatever it is rolling.
I love Kyle's analogy.
They're always rolling up something, the bridge, the ball, you're just never going to make it happen. And I think that's been to my demise. Like even if we were building a brand back in 2018, we could have caught that little momentum shift had we, for example, you dialed something in and it worked and ride it out for years. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be here again with you today. It was a great time. I'm glad we came through. Chicago Podcast Studio. Got Tom behind here. He's the man himself, Innova Digital, baby.
Yeah.
I really appreciate him being out here on a Friday afternoon.
Oh yeah, he could be doing anything right now, but he's here with a couple of brown boys talking about Ecom. So shout out Tom.
For sure. But hell yeah. Well, I'm excited every time you come back into town. Periodically we focus on, and that's what I really appreciate about being here today. It's really nice comparatively speaking to previous podcasts where I'm like shuffling 3 SD cards, and
this is good. This was a lot easier for
sure. It takes a lot of the pressure off.
Show up and talk, and that's it.
It's the best.
And you're gonna edit it?
Yeah, no. He's switchboarding it. Yeah, he's the man.
Oh no way!
I'm telling you,
this is already gonna be edited.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a full thing done.
Look at that.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lose the files. I promise.
Oh my gosh.
Literally.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching the 4 Stars podcast. Thank you for staying tuned, and thank you for staying the lengths with us. As always, keep chasing the 5th. Peace.